Hi guys, it's Anthony David aka Chidav, and guess what? Today I'm going to be taking you through on how to run a successful plantain farming business. If you want to really have a lucrative plantain farming business, this is the right video for you to be watching right now, because if you already started one, or you have a farm, you thinking of how am I going to do this, I don't even know how to cultivate plantain. Guys, I need you to relax, because I'm going to be taking you through everything you need to know as regards running a successful plantain farming business. Stay glued, I'll be back. Welcome back, guys. So like every other crop farming, plantain farming has to start with proper pre-planting operations, and the first thing you need to know is you need to select the right soil. Yes, that is where the profit starts from. When you select the right soil, because plantains are lovers of well-drained soil. Don't go and get a land that is waterlogged, they ain't going to do fine. You need to get a soil that is well drained, so that this plantain crops or plants will be able to do just fine in them. So after you've selected, you need to then prepare your land. You do land clearing, you ensure that the proper land preparation is done. And after all this has been done, I'm going to show you the next one. The next thing we're going to be doing after we've gotten our land prepared and every other thing is we're coming to the proper sucker selection. So these things are called suckers. And for you to really have a bumper harvest at the end of the day, it starts from selecting the right sucker. I'm going to be showing you some things about this sucker that you need to pay attention to. So let me show you how to uproot the sucker from the parent plant. So we've gotten our sucker. There's something else you need to search for, which I'm going to be showing you right after this. After you've gotten your sucker, I'm just showing you an example using one of the suckers. Probably if you are going for several hectares of land, you are going to be needing several suckers. After you've gotten your suckers, you need to inspect the suckers to ensure that they are disease free. The number one thing you must ensure in your plantain cultivation is that you must ensure that they are disease free. Like what I'm doing right now is like this place is quite open. You must ensure that the comb of this is what we refer to as the comb of this plantain sucker is white. If you see any traces of diseases, make sure you take them out. Do not plant a diseased sucker, because that is where the first problem comes in. If you plant a diseased sucker, that means you are going to get the planting really wrong. So that is why you need to ensure that your suckers are disease free. And the number one sign in which you get to know if the suckers are disease free is you cut open the comb and you observe if there's going to be any black spot on it. Right now this particular sucker is disease free, and that is why we can't see any traces of any black spot or any traces of diseases. It is purely white. And if you like, you can decide to trim this 40 to 50 centimeters from the base of the sucker, or you can also decide to leave it like this. So after you've cleaned it, you need to treat it. What you need to treat this with is you need to treat it with a fungicide and an insecticide to ensure that they don't get any pest attack or any fungal attack. After you've gotten the suckers, you've cleaned them up like I'm doing right now, you then need to treat them with your fungicide. Yeah, just go to your agrochemical shop and you ensure you get the fungicide and an insecticide. You soak the whole of this sucker into it. You can choose to cut off this part just make sure about 40 to 50 centimeters from the base of the sucker. Make sure you treat every single part of this particular sucker. You treat it so that they don't get attacked by diseases. Next up, guys, is the planting. So before you start planting, there's something I must discuss with you and you need to take very seriously. When planting, you need to be very, very mindful of the spacing. You have to be very, very mindful of the spacing. Do you know that your spacing is the same as your yield? Okay, I'm going to explain that. When you get the spacing right, at the end of the day, your plant population is going to be correct, and you know your plant population determines the amount of money you get from the farm. Meaning, if you run shortage of the specific plant population you are supposed to get from a particular land area, that means you're already running at a loss. So before you even start planting in your plantain farming business, you must ensure that your spacing is gotten right. Now, what spacing is advisable to use in your plantain farming? The recommended spacing you use is, you make use of, let's say we have, this is your rows, and then we have what we call inter-row and then intra-row spacing. So when you have your, you make sure that we recommend 2 meters by 2 meters, or you use 3 meters by 2 meters. So from one plantain to another, you should give it about 2 meters. You should give it about 2 meters. So I'm just going to assume that this is my 2 meters estimated value from that particular, from this very plantain here to this very one here is about 2 meters. So if I'm to then make my hole where I'm going to be planting the plantain suckers into, you need to ensure the first thing you have to do is to clear out the area. Then you make your digging. Now the digging is, the recommended depth, 40 centimeters deep, and then you make a width of 40 centimeters, and you ensure you go 40 centimeters deep, and ensure you keep the topsoil on a particular place. You ensure the topsoil doesn't mix with the ground soil, so you keep the ground one another side, and you ensure that the topsoil is kept on this side. You know why? Because the topsoil is richer in organic matter and it is richer in nutrients. So after we've dug the hole where we're going to be planting, I need you to come closer so we look at the hole. Come closer, look at the hole here. So now after we've dug, this is about 40 centimeter deep. It's about 40 centimeter deep. So we are then going to take this into the ground. Now, you know I told you need to keep your topsoil one side, so you ensure that the topsoil is the very first one you put into the soil first before covering. You make sure you start covering with the top soil, and then we've planted. So the beauty of planting, and why I recommend people and why it is so lucrative, is that this very sucker you're seeing here is going to produce nothing less than 4 suckers at the end of the day, nothing less than that. And you know what that means? One sucker is giving you 4 other suckers, and then you know when it comes to expansion, you are going to expand really fast. So that is why plantain business is so lucrative. Plantain farming business is so lucrative. This is the new oil well. People don't even know. So we are not done yet. I'm going to be telling you the next thing you need to do and pay attention to. Even before planting, there's something you need to take note of. Don't just plant plantain anytime. Don't plant it any season, because if you do, you are going to run at a great loss. Now, you plant plantain during rainy season. I repeat again, during rainy season. And you don't just plant anytime. You don't plant towards the end of the rainy season because the first 3 months of the sucker's life cycle, they need water. They need water because at that point they have to grow very, very vigorously, and it is when this water is available to them that they're able to grow well. And that is why you need to, if you do not have irrigation, you need to plant it during the rainy season. Now my advice is, I advise most farmers that you don't plant at the beginning of the rainy season, because there's a possibility of the rain stopping along the way, and then there could be drought. So it is most advisable you plant in the middle of the rainy season, so that by then the rains would have been very, very stable, and the rains will be available to your suckers for minimum of 3 months. By then the suckers would have been well established and they would have grown properly. But what are the management practices we need to put in place to ensure that we have a bumper harvest at the end of the day? You know, the first 3 months of a plantain life cycle is so important because you need to take care of your crop. If you don't take care of this plantain at a very, when they are still very tender, then you are going to run at a loss. They do not have the strength to really compete well with wheat, and that is why you need to ensure that your plantain is weed free, your plantain field is weed free. You ensure that you keep ensuring that you don't allow your wheat to compete for space, for water, for nutrients with your cultivated sucker. So the next thing is, after you've done all this, you need to then determine the kind of fertilizer you want to apply. Is it organic? Is it inorganic? Depending on what you do. Some people are organic farmers, so they would prefer organic fertilizers, and some people are conventional farmers who are not really so interested about the particular fertilizers they use. So anyone you choose to use, then you make use of it and you ensure you apply your fertilizer. So within the first month of planting, you need to apply your fertilizer. So that, I'm not going to tell you to apply this particular fertilizer, because you need to carry out your soil analysis so as to know the right nutrients to apply. I have a video on soil and then soil analysis is around here. I'm going to place the video around here so you could go watch it. So you need to understand your soil, and then from the understanding of your soil, you then get to know what particular fertilizer or nutrients you are to apply to your suckers. The first month is very key. You need to apply fertilizer so that it can peak and grow so vigorously, and then the first 3 to 4 months you need to ensure the field is weed free, so that your suckers can be, because they are still very young, they can be able to grow and then get established and then have the strength and energy to compete well with the weeds in the of course, once they've grown, they formed canopy, there's no way weeds are going to compete any longer with them, because their shades are going to then prevent the weeds from surviving within the plant. So I know the next question you're going to be asking is, when do we start harvesting our plantains after planting? So your first harvest should start from the 8th month, 8 to 9 months. You should be having your first harvest. If you got a very, very good variety, then at least between 8 to 9, let's just say, give it a year. But your first, if you've gotten the right, that was why I said in your sucker selection you need to get the best variety for planting. So if you've gotten the best variety for planting, definitely in the 8th or 9th month you should have commenced with your harvesting. And that was why I also talked about you ensuring you stay glued to the right management practices, agronomic practices for cultivating plantain. You have to stick to it, and at the end of the day, I'm telling you, you're going to be having a super bumper harvest, because plantain farming business is the new oil well people don't even know about. So I know you really enjoyed this session. If you have, I need you to smash the like button. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, what are you still waiting for? Hit on the subscribe button, guys, and ensure you also hit the notification bell so you get notified when new videos drop. Guys, I will be back in subsequent videos. Bye for now.